Living Local Carolina with Katie Turner. Local trends, shopping, dining, and more. This is Living Local Carolina.
Well, thanks for joining us today on Living Local Carolina. I am at ESA Fitness Club with Terrence. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great, and I have
Good.
some questions for you.
All right, I'm ready to answer.
First question, what does ESA stand for?
ESA stands for Enhanced Speed and Agility.
Okay.
Yeah, so most people come to me to get faster, to get more agile, to have more mobility, and more explosiveness. So
Love
yeah.
that. Well, give me a little bit about your background. How did you get into this?
I got into it after I was training for the NFL, and I had a trainer in college. And then I went up to Maryland after I played in the All-Star game my senior year, and I trained with Vernon Davis trainer, and it kind of opened my eyes to a lot more different style of training than what I was getting in college.
Interesting.
And then I was in the CFL in rookie camp with the Montreal Alouettes, and got cut from there, came back home, and started coaching and started training some kids. I put a speed and agility clinic on, got it sponsored, had about 40 kids come out. It was amazing.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, okay, I like it a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I just opened a facility with about 4 or 5 clients, $1,000 in a 1,000 square foot facility. And that
here
was
we
12
are.
years ago. Yeah.
Wow.
And now I'm here.
Now we're here, and what is this location? It's pretty prime, man, I gotta say.
Yeah, it's so this is downtown redevelopment zone, okay? Right, smack dead in the middle of downtown Myrtle Beach is
Yeah.
515 9th Avenue North, and I've been in this building for about a year.
Okay.
So I decided to come down here, one, to be a part of the community, be a part of the redevelopment and all the stuff that's going on downtown. So I just, took a risk, and so far it's been pretty good. We got a lot of neighbors coming down on this street,
Yeah.
and I like the plans that's what's happening down here. So I just wanted to be a part of some growth and be on the beginning of the stages, and that also actually ask what we think and what we want to do, and so it's pretty cool.
Love it.
Yeah.
Okay, who's the typical client that you see on a daily basis? I know that you have all these different sports painted up on the wall,
Yeah.
which he did himself, by the way. Love that.
Yeah. A typical client is a high school and a middle school athlete. I do some 4th and 5th graders. I kind of start around 10 years old. That's kind of like my stopping point.
Yeah.
I've had some 9-year-olds that were pretty mentally there, that can stay locked in the whole session. And then when the seasons kind of change, I get my college guys and girls coming back in, and then I get some of my professional athletes. They'll drop in. I can't just rely on college and pro athletes because their seasons are longer in that at school. But most of my clientele are high school and middle school athletes, so we're trying to build them up. But the key is catch them in middle school. So by the time they get to high school, by the time they're juniors and seniors, they're 10 times better, and to give them a better chance to either go to college or make their varsity squad.
Yeah.
So that's the typical. And I also do adult personal training as well. So in the morning times, that's what I spend my time with doing.
I think a lot of people wonder where these great athletes come from, and I think a lot of times this is the thing that really makes the biggest difference for kids.
We'll be back right after this break with more Living Local Carolina.
Well, welcome back to Living Local Carolina. Today I'm joined in studio by Becky from the Champion Autism Network. Becky, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Tell me, how did you get involved with CAN in the first place?
I created CAN.
Okay.
So I have a son who's high functioning on the spectrum. We relocated here from the South Jersey area 11 years ago. And you know, there's all these wonderful organizations that support the person with autism, you know, therapies and speech and ABA, but there's nothing for the family. Mm-hmm. And so we started in 2013 with our sensory friendly movies. People came out to them and they were so excited to be somewhere where everybody got it and understood. They asked what else was there. So we took surveys and collected data, and we started a training program for restaurants because that was the number one thing our parents wanted to do. So we started to educate restaurants, and then I was like, okay, if you're gonna, like I said, invite the autism world to come out and play, everybody needs to know how to treat them and what's going on. So the travel initiative started in 2016, and that's when we became a 501c3 and incorporated, and we've just been kind of off and running ever since.
You're really covering all the bases though, from the educational standpoint to actually just providing them something to do. But from your standpoint, what has it felt like being able to actually educate somebody that had no idea what autism was? How does that feel to you as a mom too?
It's really wonderful and refreshing, you know, and it's not embraced by everybody or every business, and that's okay, right? We're just happy that most businesses and people in the community feel it's the right thing to do. Mm-hmm. And really, it's not rocket science. Generally speaking, you know, you just have to kind of lead with love, and like in a restaurant or pretty much anywhere, if you have light switches and a volume control, you're halfway there in supporting people. Then it's just learning tips and tricks about, you know, what to do, how to treat people, these autism families in your restaurants or your stores or at your resorts, and you know what kind of support they might need, and then what to look out for in case there's a runner or an eloper, how to handle that situation.
A little patience goes a long way too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, thanks so much for joining us today on Living Local Carolina. Today I'm joined in the studio with Charles from Long Bay Symphony. How are you doing?
Just fine, thanks.
Awesome. Okay, tell everybody a little bit about what you do.
Well, I'm the music director of the Long Bay Symphony, which is this region's professional orchestra. And you know, it's funny because as much as we've been around, I think, gosh, and now I can't remember exactly, it's our 36th, 37th season. Wow. They're going to kill me in the office for not remembering the exact year. But we've been around a while, but for a cultural institution, it's not that long. And since people are, you know, it's so transient, people are constantly moving into this area from primarily the Northeast or the Charlotte area or wherever. And it's amazing how, in spite of all we do, people don't know they have a professional symphony orchestra in town. Yeah. So we do, of course, our traditional subscription concerts, classical things, and try to make that as varied as possible using, you know, ballet dancers and, you know, just as much variety as we can. But our biggest thrust over the past several years has been to do more diverse programming and more outreach. So we've done things like the New Year's Eve concert that we do and a gala, to, of course, Messiah performances in December. Also a Gullah to Gospel program involving a mass gospel choir in March. We've done patriotic war and peace concerts for the past several years over Veterans Day weekend. And so we're just out there in the community reaching all segments of the community, with a lot of those concerts being free, sponsored by the Chapin Foundation and other organizations. So that's kind of our mission, is to be out there and be a part of this community. And it's amazing, invariably after a concert, I'll have someone come up to me and say, "Oh, this was amazing. I had no idea we had a professional orchestra in this area." Which is sort of why I'm here today.
Yeah, we're spreading the word.
Yeah.
And these are talented musicians that deserve to, get some spotlight on them.
Our musicians basically play in orchestras throughout the region, in the South Carolina Philharmonic, Wilmington, Charleston, all of the general area, and they just travel. A lot of them are professors at universities or, So it's, you just go where the activity is.
I love it.
We'll be back right after this break with more Living Local Carolina.
Well, welcome back to Living Local Carolina. I am back at Bad Hair Salon today. I'm with Katie and Sarah. How are y'all doing? Good. How are you? How are you? I'm doing great.
Wonderful.
So here at Bad Hair, they're very different. They have a more natural route, but you guys have a ton of diverse clients, and you have some pretty specialized things that you're good at. I want to kind of take some time to go into that. First, let's start with you, Sarah.
Perfect.
You are a curly hair specialist.
Absolutely.
This is niche, but it's not, right?
Yeah. So there's a lot more people that have texture that maybe either don't know about it or have never properly been taught how to take care of it. And of course, we have so many different textures, from the tightest of curls to the loosest of waves. And we're here to kind of educate you on all of them.
I love that.
Yeah.
And tell me a little bit about what you do.
I'm the bridal director, so I handle all the bridal organizing. I help everybody, send out their contracts for their bridal, for their weddings, and then I help organize our team here, like who's going to do hair and who's doing makeup, and we just have fun with it.
That's a lot to keep track of,
Yeah.
I will say.
Yeah.
So what does a typical day look like for you guys here?
It just kind of depends on the day, but for me personally, again, it's a lot of educating our clients. That's something that always goes back to it. Every curly client that I am with, I go into like our in-depth process of how we're going to style, what we're going to use, why it's going to work for their particular curls, and really get them a personalized and individual routine that's going to work best for their curls. And then we can really break down the actual ingredients that are in our products as well, which helps with my InterSense training and education. So not only is it great for great for them, but it's great for their curls as well.
Yeah. And you actually, when you leave the salon, you think your hair looks really good.
Yes.
And then you actually can keep it looking good.
Absolutely.
Day after day.
Because we want to give you the same confidence that while you're in salon, that we send you home with that same routine, that you have the confidence to do it when you go home too.
I love that.
Yeah.
And Katie, it's about to be a real busy season for you.
Yes.
What is that like every year? It's got to be pretty rewarding, right?
It is. My favorite part is seeing everything come together and just, seeing smiles on everybody's faces, the party, the wedding parties. And just, seeing it all come together is very rewarding.
Question. For somebody that is maybe going to become a bride, not naming any names, when would you need to book with you? Like, when would you need to start thinking about that process?
I would say at least 5-6 months in advance.
Okay, write that down.
Yeah, we do book up
Write
pretty
that down,
fast.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised though, a lot of people try to get in last minute, and we're able to work with them too.
I love it. And finally, I want you both to tell me why you love working here at Bad Hair. You guys definitely have a very different dynamic than any salon that I've walked into, but what is it really like?
So I love Bad Hair in general. It really gives you the environment to flourish no matter what your specialty is. We are so diverse, and that allows you to have, what you're the most passionate about. You have a great team of people to support you. There's education on everything, and if you don't know it, we also offer Bad Hair University classes every single Monday to our individual team as well. You can also come from outside as well too. So if there's a topic you don't know, whether it's regular hairstyling and cutting, curly classes, more specialty things, we have you covered. So there's always somebody who can help you, and coaches that are willing to get you to those goals that you want as well. So you're just set up for success here.
I love how our whole team is basically a big family, and I love how different we are, and how, like Leslie said earlier, that we recycle every single thing. I just think that's amazing. Not a lot of salons are aware, that what we put out into the world and how it affects the environment. So
You don't know until you know, people. And now I know. All right. Thank you guys so much for talking to me.
Don't forget to like our page on Facebook and follow us on Instagram and Twitter. How to use the QR code. Just open the camera app on your smartphone, iPad, or tablet. Point your device at the QR code so the QR code appears on your screen. Your device will recognize the QR code and show you a notification. Click that notification and you'll come to our website. Living Local Carolina, weekday mornings at 9:30 on WBTW News 13.